Good to have you with us on this Sunday evening. I'm Daniel Che, and these are the stories we're following at this hour. The hunt is on for Yoo Byung-eon, the practical owner of the Sewol-ho ferry, and earlier this Sunday, the chairman of one of the affiliates that Yoo used to own provided a helpful lead, claiming that the 73-year-old man may be hiding inside the headquarters of a religious sect led by the Yoo family. Our Connie Kim starts us off.
The chairman of an affiliate of Sewol Group, which controls Cheongjin Marine Company, seemed to confirm that the practical owner of the Sewol-ho ferry is hiding at the headquarters of a religious sect his family leads in Kumsuwon, Gyeonggi-do Province, south of Seoul, but then he changed his mind. Hemato-Centric Life chairman Lee Jae-ok said in a press briefing inside the compound on Sunday that Yoo might come outside if his name were called. But as the press continued to ask about Yoo's whereabouts, Lee reversed himself, saying he doesn't know where Yoo is. The briefing was held in a yard inside the compound where photos of Yoo have been taken. The religious sect opened some of the facilities to the press on Sunday and asked that everything happening inside be made public. Now, Yoo is believed to be in hiding after he failed to appear for questioning last Friday. The 73-year-old is suspected of tax evasion and embezzlement of millions of dollars from company affiliates owned by him and members of his family. Yoo has until Tuesday to show up for a court hearing. Now, if he fails to appear, prosecutors are likely to issue an arrest warrant for Yoo on Thursday. Arrest warrants for Yoo's second son and eldest daughter, both of whom are abroad, have been issued after the two failed to appear for questioning. More than a month after the Sewol-ho ferry sunk off the southwestern coast of Korea, another body was pulled from the waters Sunday morning, raising the death toll from the disaster to 286. Connie Kim, ARIRANG News.
President Park Geun-hye will address the nation Monday to apologize for the government's failure to prevent the recent ferry disaster. Presidential office spokesperson Lee Jae-ok says President Park's remarks will start at 9 a.m. Korea time, 33 days after the Sewol-ho ferry accident. The president will also announce measures to bolster national safety and root out irregularities in public service. On this Sunday, President Park attended a mass for the victims and families of the ferry accident at Myeongdong Cathedral in Seoul. Following her speech on Monday, she will embark on a two-day visit to the United Arab Emirates for a ceremony marking an installation of the first Korean-made nuclear reactor, with hopes to increase opportunities for Koreans to work in the Middle East. Lawmakers at the National Assembly will begin a one-month extraordinary session Monday to address the Sewol-ho ferry accident. And with local elections coming up in 3 weeks' time, clashes between the nation's two main political parties are expected. The ruling Saenuri Party is expected to focus on the fundamental cause of the accident, while the main opposition New Politics Alliance for Democracy is likely to focus on the government's responsibility. Lawmakers will also discuss the creation of a new law related to the ferry accident and the installation of a special prosecutor, the need for both of which was raised by President Park Geun-hye on Friday during a meeting with families of the victims of the accident. Moving on to up north, the 23-story apartment building collapsed in Pyongyang last week. North Korea's state media offered a rare report on the accident earlier today, saying high-level officials repented for putting the lives of the people at risk. Our Hwang Sung-hee has more.
North Korea called it an unimaginable accident after an unfinished 23-story apartment building collapsed in Pyongyang, reportedly injuring hundreds of people. The state-run Korean Central News Agency reported Sunday the collapse occurred last Tuesday due to the result of irresponsible supervision. The report did not provide a death toll, but said a search and rescue operation had been carried out to find survivors and treat the injured. Leader Kim Jong-un reportedly sat up all night in pain after being told about the accident. He instructed leading officials of the party, state, and the army to rush to the scene and command the rescue operation. The agency published lengthy apologies from senior officials, including Minister of People's Security Choi Bu-il, who apologized for putting lives and property at risk. A South Korean official who wished to remain anonymous said, although the 23-story apartment building was still under construction, 92 families were already living there. He said it's common in the north for people to move in before construction officially ends, and said the final death toll was likely to be considerable. It's extremely rare for North Korea's state media to report on an accident such as this, and for high-ranking officials to issue an apology. Experts say the report was likely meant to show Yang Kim as a leader who cares about the people and to prove the North Korean government better than the South by drawing a comparison between the building collapse and the sinking of the Sewol-ho ferry. 황상희, ARIRANG News.
The nation's leading economic think tank says that the current $1 exchange rate could ultimately hurt Korea's economic growth. The Korea Economic Research Institute says the nation's economic growth rate could plummet to 3.3% by the end of the year from an earlier forecast of 3.5%, once the won begins exchanging hands at 1,000 won against the greenback. The institute predicts that the won will continue to increase in strength through the end of the year, reducing the prices of imported raw materials and consumer goods in local markets, boosting private consumption by about 0.31 percentage points and increasing capital investment by about 0.3 percentage points. A strong won will also deal a blow to Korean exports, which are expected to contract about 0.5 percentage points. The local branches of two foreign banks in Korea have triggered a controversy for transferring a massive amount of money to their parent firms over the last decade. Citibank Korea and Standard Chartered Bank Korea have paid a total of 3.25 trillion won, or around $3.18 billion in dividends and consulting fees to their parent firms over the past 10 years, according to industry data. That's equal to around 56.2% of their combined net profit over the cited period. It ultimately comes down to this: is the amount they are paying to their parent firms acceptable and reasonable, and are there any signs of tax evasion? As a first step to resolving the matter, the Financial Supervisory Service will investigate Citibank Korea to review whether its consulting fee payments are appropriate. Also around the world, fierce clashes broke out in Benghazi, Libya, between armed groups loyal to a rogue ex-general and Islamist militias. The country's health ministry says at least 79 people have been killed and 141 wounded since retired General Khalifa Haftar began the attack on Friday. Haftar, the man who led ground forces in the 2011 uprising that toppled Muammar Gaddafi, this time used warplanes and helicopters in the latest attack. Libya's central government has accused the retired general and his irregular forces, of trying to carry out a coup. Haftar said it is not a coup, but the start of a national battle to restore security, and he vowed to press on with his campaign despite government warnings. The latest wave of violence shows how precarious government control remains in Libya after the 2011 civil war. As more people in Korea adopt Western eating habits, the waistline of the population is slowly but surely expanding. There is no groundbreaking solution to obesity other than eating right and exercising regularly. But a group of local scientists has uncovered a medical reason for obesity that could change the way doctors treat it. For more, here's our Son Jung-in.
Obesity, which greatly raises the risk of other health problems, affects over 21% of the world population. Overeating and a lack of exercise are the main causes, but local researchers say they've uncovered another factor. A joint group of experts from Asan Medical Center and Gachon University of Medicine and Science discovered that psyllium, a hair-like structure on brain nerve cells, holds the key to treating obesity. They found that cilia, which act as antennae for the cells, fail to perceive the messages the body sends when their lengths are reduced. So when the stomach is full, the brain does not receive the message to stop eating. When neuronal cilia lengths were selectively reduced, the food intake of a mouse surged by 30%, while its energy consumption fell by more than 20%. This phenomenon of inverse proportion between cilia length and obesity was seen in every mouse tested. Cilia in normal mice measured an average of 5.5 micrometers long, while those in obese mice measured 3.3 micrometers. The team also discovered that once obesity began to set in, cilia became subsequently short. Therefore, experts anticipate they could find a medical treatment to curing obesity once they find a way to grow the length of cilia.
We can now focus on ways to develop a medication that helps cilia and nerve cells maintain their length. We hope this will eventually help prevent and cure obesity.
The findings were featured in the world-renowned scientific journals, the Journal of Clinical Investigation, and in Nature Reviews. Son Jung-in, ARIRANG News.
Well, otherwise, it was a great weekend for Koreans with sunny skies and mild evenings, and it looks like the pleasant conditions will continue on Monday, with the mercury getting just above 27. And now let's look at the weather conditions elsewhere around the world. And that brings us to the end of our newscast. Well, 34 years ago on this day, May 18th, hundreds of Koreans gave their lives to make sure that we enjoy the democracy we have here in Korea today. Today, we are reminded of their feat, we thank them, and of course, we are constantly reminded of the fact that freedom is not free. Do tune in back at 10 p.m. for more newscasts. Thank you for watching.